Write these two words down. First impressions. First impressions. We're going to talk this morning about first impressions. Now, here's a question. How many chances do you get at a first impression? One, right? And question 2 is, how long do first impressions last? Forever, right? So, I was thinking about first impressions and thinking about the way we dress and the way we act and how we walk in. But there are many other things that we have in our lives that we do that cause first impressions. So before I go into how we should look and act, what are some of the other first impressions that we give people that we need to be thinking about? Smiling, but well, let's not talk about in person yet, okay? But smiling is definitely one. Sorry?
How do you speak to them?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, okay. How knowledgeable you are, absolutely.
Attitude.
Your attitude, the way you walk and go out. Go ahead, Pamela.
Tonality of your voice.
The tonality of your voice, exactly. How about over the phone? Do you give out first impressions that you haven't met the person? You picked up the phone, you haven't met them, and the moment they come on the phone, they have a first impression of you, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay? Are you loud? Are you low? Are you boisterous? Are you argumentative? Do you sound like you know what you're talking about or not? Okay? I wrote that down. How about first impressions of you and the business you do for your listings in the MLS? Never thought of that one, did you? Why is that important? Do clients ever look at MLS sheets?
Yes.
Sure are they supposed to? No. It says confidential on the bottom of it, right? Do clients ever look at MLS sheets? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. You bet they do. How nice are your pictures in the MLS? Do clients ever look at your MLS? Do they ever look at your pictures?
Yes.
How nice are your pictures? By the way, how many pictures do you have? You know, in Century 21, in order to get on the website in a higher position on century21.com, you have to have a minimum, I think it's 8 photos. Okay? So even 3 or 4, which some people think is enough, with Century 21, they did a lot of studies, spent a lot of money on this. They found that people like to look at pictures. The more pictures, the longer they stay looking at your property. You're thinking that the more pictures, the faster they're going to rule it out. It's the opposite. The more pictures, the more they stay, the more interest, if they're interested in your property, the longer they stay looking at that piece of property. So you need to go put more nicer pictures into the MLS. How about the language you use in the description of your listing?
Huge.
Huge. Gigantic. How about spelling in the MLS? You're laughing. Okay? Clients look at that stuff. Other agents look at that stuff. How about how your listing shows? First impression, how your listing shows. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you know agents who have listings that seem to always look great? That agent, every listing they ever get, when I drive up, it always looks nice in the front. It's a beautiful property. Seems to always be priced well. Gosh, they're lucky. Do you know agents like that? Do you know agents that also, when you drive up, you know the thing's a dump? The information might not be accurate? You have agents that you work with or you know that are like that, right? I wrote down here, when you drive up to a property for a showing appointment, where do you park? They don't know you. Okay? Client doesn't know you that you're showing up. Now, here's what's interesting. You drive up, you park in the driveway. By the way, any of you park in clients' driveways?
No.
Okay. Well, if you do or think about it, don't. Because here's what's happening. You drive up, you park in the client's driveway, even if you know or think the client's not home. You park in their driveway. They're home, of course. They see it. They think, that's kind of egotistical of that person to presume it's okay to park in my driveway or to block my driveway. Your clients like the house. They love the house, in fact. They make an offer. What's the first thing the agent asks the listing agent about your offer? They ask about the offer, or do they ask about, is that the agent that drives the blah blah car that parked in my driveway yesterday? So you're trying to get your offer through, and the sellers already have a first impression of you that isn't so terrific. You get this? Huge. So I wrote down here, it takes just a quick glance, maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds, for someone to evaluate you when they meet you the first time. Very quick. 2 or 3 seconds. Is it fair? No. But it's reality. And we have to understand it. We have to work with it. In this short period of time, in this 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, the other person forms an opinion about you based on your appearance, based on your parking in their driveway, based on your body language, based on your demeanor, based on your walk, your mannerisms, how you're dressed, how you carry yourself. And you've got to underline this point. First impressions it's nearly impossible to reverse or undo. First impressions are almost impossible to reverse or undo. And they set the tone for all the relationships that are coming. So I wrote down a few easy tips to help create some great first impressions. So write these down. First of all, be on time. Write that down. Be on time. We've talked about this week in and week out. Week in and week out. Real estate agents have this attitude that they are so busy and so self-important that if they're late, they can talk themselves out of it and it's okay and there's no harm, no foul. So, I wrote down here, someone you're meeting for the first time is not interested in your good excuse for running late. They are not interested in your good excuse for running late. Mike says if you're 15 minutes early, you're already starting to be late. Okay? You should be 15 minutes early to your appointment. And I wrote down here, arriving early is much better than arriving late. And it goes a long way to great first impressions. I wrote down number 2. Be yourself. Be at ease. Be yourself and be at ease. If you're feeling uncomfortable or on the edge or you're nervous, you're going to make the person you're meeting with nervous, uncomfortable, and on edge. And that is going to definitely give that person the wrong impression. I wrote down here, if you're calm and confident, the client will feel more calm and confident, and you'll have a better first impression. Write this down. Knowledge equals confidence. Knowledge equals confidence. Why are we nervous driving up to the house sometimes for the first time? Couple of reasons. 1, we're late. 2, we're late. 3, we haven't reviewed the property or the properties before we show up, and we're nervous about what to expect. Or we're not running 15 minutes early, so therefore we have to go run straight to the house without circling the neighborhood to make sure not a new sign came up in the area or a for sale by owner came up in the area that we don't know about. Why are we nervous when we're late? Because as we are driving up, there is a sign next door that we didn't know about that got listed last night, and we're late. We got to get on the phone to try and find out the information, because the minute you walk in that front door, what are they going to ask you? Hey, by the way, how much is that house? And you're going to say, I don't know. Is that going to make you nervous and uncomfortable?
Yes.
Do you get what's going on here? We're doing this to ourselves, creating these first impressions that are just falling apart. We can't do that. I wrote this down, number 3. Present yourself appropriately. Present yourself appropriately. What does that mean? Physical appearance matters, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what you say. How you look and how you walk speaks volumes before you ever open your mouth. Can be negative or positive. You don't know. You just don't know. I wrote down here this question: is your appearance saying the right things to help create the right first impression? Is your appearance saying the right things to help you create your right first impression? So, let's start with the way we dress. Men, I think you should be wearing long sleeve shirt, tie, and a coat if you're going on a listing appointment. Now, if the client says take your coat off, or you feel that you need to dress down, you can dress down. How uncomfortable do you feel if you're underdressed for an event? Hello? Very uncomfortable. But when you overdress, you guys, you can take your tie off, or you can take your coat off, but you can't put a tie or a coat on. Get it? Don't do that to yourselves. I wrote down here, women, skirt and blouse, or a suit on presentation. And ladies, I got to tell you this. I don't know how else to say it. You got to watch the buttons. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You got to watch the buttons. You think you're doing the right thing, you're not. You know what, ladies? You're losing deals because the wife finds you a threat. I'm telling you, you don't even get that. And you might not even think of yourself as a threat. But you're losing deals because the wife thinks you're a threat. And she never says it to the husband. She just loses your phone number. You think I'm kidding? I was raised to open car doors for women. Guys, okay? I was raised to open a car door for a woman. I went showing property. I opened the car door showing on a Sunday afternoon. This goes back way in the beginning of my real estate career, and I was showing property. And when I would get out of the car, I would open the car door for the woman. I got back to the office. I thought I had a fabulous showing experience, and I knew there was one property that they loved, and we were going to write that offer because that's what we had left it. It was a Sunday afternoon. They were going to go have lunch, come back. I got a call from my broker an hour later. My broker calls me up. He says, "What did you do?" What are you talking about? He says, "The man is so mad at you because you opened her car door and you made him look bad." Because he never does. She made a comment. Wow, what a nice young man.
You're dead.
You've got to be. You don't know what's going on now. If this person never called my broker, I would have never known why I didn't get to write that deal. I happened to find out why I didn't get to write that deal because those people weren't going to do any business with me. Great first impressions. First time I'm out with them, they don't know me. I don't know them. I get them into the office. We go out and show property. I'm doing my job. I'm saying what I'm supposed to say. I'm going over all the numbers. I'm showing them all the net sheets. Everything's cool. I'm being respectful as my mother had taught me to do. Lost a deal. Guys, that's going to happen. And ladies, that's happening. Watch the buttons. I wrote down here, in terms of appearances, a good haircut or shave. I don't know what it is with this guys and this stubble. I don't know. Neat and tidy. I wrote down here, photos on cards. Ladies and gentlemen, get rid of them. Photos on cards, get rid of them. Especially, I'm going to say this, ladies, you guys have a habit of changing your hair color or your hair length. So you have this over here, and they're expecting this blonde to show up, and a brunette shows up. You're screwing yourselves up. You don't need your pictures on your cards. I was working on this yesterday, trying to think of what professions, other than real estate, in a big way, there's probably a few others small, put pictures on their cards. Who does this? Who does this? Us. Stop doing this to yourselves, okay? Guys, I'm done with the girls. I'm going with the guys. I wrote down here, you guys got to get rid of the cards with pictures on them because someone somewhere told you that looking like a gangster was a cool picture. Looking like a gangster is not cool. Okay? So if you're going to look, get rid of that stuff. Jeez. Guys, there's another thing. Guys, too. So, anybody ever hear of Disney? Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Productions, DreamWorks, those kinds of things? Well, think back as a kid. The world of Disney portrays every evil person I have seen in my whatever number of years. They paint the evil person with a beard and a goatee. Now this is Disney, okay? And all of us have grown up with Disney, looking at Disney, the visuals of Disney, and here they are with these beards, and the movie Aladdin with the vizier with this beard, and he was very evil. Come on, get rid of the face hair. Get rid of it. People see if
I don't know where I go now.
just do yourselves a favor. That's on first impressions. I wrote down here, a winning smile. Winning smile. Write down, winning smile. Smile and the whole world smiles with you. Okay? There's nothing like a great smile to create a great first impression. Smiles are disarming. They are inviting. Use a smile. As I look around the room, you guys have great smiles. Use them. Don't frown. Frown, think about this. When somebody's frowning, do you feel like they're approachable? You want to stay away from people that are frowning because, wow, there's a problem over there, and I don't want to deal with that problem. I want to go with the smiles. I wrote down here the next thought, be open and be confident. When it comes to making a first impression, body language as well as appearance speaks louder than words. You need to stand tall. You can't slouch over. You need to smile, smile, smile till it hurts. You need to make eye contact with people. Do you trust people who, when they talk to you, are looking away? Hello? No, we don't. So when you are talking to someone and you're looking away, for whatever your reason, you're giving them the signal that you're not trustworthy. Okay? In this business, you'd better be very trustworthy. You're dealing with people's largest asset in most cases. You had better come across trustworthy. Handshakes. Who likes the fish handshake? Huh? Firm handshake. Give a handshake. Give them your whole hand. None of this grab the finger stuff. You know? Come on, you guys. Give a handshake. Now, on converse to that, some of you guys, you go for the handshake that crushes the bones and takes people to their knees. Well, it's not what I'm talking. That's not a great first impression. My impression of that is I want to stay away from you. Don't do that. A firm handshake. It's all we need to do. I wrote down here, small talk goes a long way. Small talk goes a long way. Conversations are based on verbal give and take. Conversations are based on verbal give and take, and they're about being interested in the person. No one wants to talk to a person. Forget about the sales process. No one wants to talk to a person that's always only talking about themselves, right? Say yes.
Yes.
You don't want to. They don't want to hear it. You've got to learn to ask questions. I wrote down here, learn the scripts. The scripts and dialogues are all about questions. The scripts are a series of questions designed to help you have a conversation with the client to help determine what they need so that you can help them. That's what the scripts are all about. They just open up a conversation. I'm a decent conversationalist, but up until learning the scripts 15, 20 years ago, I didn't ask enough questions. I talked too much. When I changed that, it changed everything in terms of the conversation. And people actually think I'm interested in them. Go figure. Now think about that. When you ask a few questions of somebody, you say, wow, so tell me more about that. Wow, that seems interesting. And people then will start sharing with you. And the more they talk about themselves, the clients, the more they tend to like you. The more they like you, the more they'll trust you. The more they trust you, the easier it is for you to do business with them. It's that simple. I wrote down the next thought here. Be positive. Your attitude shows through everything you're doing. Project a positive attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great time to buy real estate. It's an amazing time to buy real estate. The opportunities are phenomenal. Interest rates are at their lowest level. Inventories are at some of their highest levels. Prices are half of where we were 3 or 4 years ago. The opportunities are out there. And I guarantee this. I absolutely guarantee this. We all know people that wish they would have taken our advice 5 or 6 years ago and would have sold their house at that time. Right? Say yes.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you something. We are going to meet people 3 or 4 years from now that are going to wish they took our advice and bought today. Same exact thing, just reversed a little bit. If the client doesn't, you need to ask the client. Every seller, if you don't need to sell this house, Mr. and Miss, to buy your next house, then don't. You need to ask every seller that question. Because the best advice you can give them is to keep their house, rent that asset out, have the tenant pay the asset off, and in 15 or 20 years, they're going to have a free and clear asset that's going to be paying them $2,000 or $3,000 a month per asset. Let me tell you something. They're going to love you. I think Social Security right now, if you retire now, Social Security full benefit is $1,500 or $1,800 a month. $1,500 or $1,800 a month. That's it. If you were to buy a house today and you did that every couple of years for 3 or 4 years, and then you just held them, they paid off in 20 years, when you're getting ready to retire, you're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6 of these properties all paid off, paying you $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month, 4 assets is $8,000 a month, plus the $1,500 that you're going to get from the Social Security, which, by the way, may or may not be there. That's a whole nother story. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be prepared for yourself. You have to work for yourselves. You have to explain to your client that the best advice that they could get from you is that they keep that asset if they can. Have the client pay it, the tenant pay it off, and at the end of 20 years, they will have a free and clear asset. It'll be phenomenal for them. They will love you. I wrote down here, be courteous and attentive. Be courteous and attentive, but be careful. Because if you open too many doors, like I said, they might get mad at you. So be very, very, very cautious. But let me tell you something. Please and thank you goes a long way in life. Please and thank you goes a long way. And you have got to do this. This is the giant, biggest no-no. Turn those damn cell phones off. When you're with a client, turn the cell phone off. When you're in a meeting, turn the cell phone off. You want to do something? Make it, just reach into your pocket. Ladies, reach into your purse at the beginning of the meeting and turn it off. Make it a show that you are, my time is with you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and I'm turning that phone off. And I'm going to leave it off for the duration of our conversation. Do not take a phone call. You're out showing property, don't take a phone call. Turn that thing off. You don't like it when somebody does that to you, do you? Don't do it to them. I wrote down here, you have a few seconds to make a good first impression, and it's almost impossible to ever change it. Judgments that people will be forming fall into these categories real quickly. People remember the first thing they decide about you. People remember the first thing they decide about you. Or people remember the last thing they decide about you. They either the first thing or the last thing they decide about you. But when that meeting's over, that's what they remember for the whole relationship. Each person's preferences are different than the next one. So because this person liked you this way, the next person might like you a little bit differently. So you've got to understand that's a reality. And some people are more generous with their opinions of others. Some people will give you slack, and some people will give you no slack. So my question to you is, today matters. Today matters. What actions will you take today to work on creating your great first impressions with your clients, whether it be your persona, whether it be your car, whether it be how you're perceived in the MLS, whether it'll be how you work with your clients and friends, how you are on the telephone. How will you do? What changes will you make? And then let's go out and make this our best week ever. Thank you.